You've heard the complaints. I'm sure you may have said it yourself. It's so hard doing this stuff virtually. Whether you're leading a team, speaking at an event, it's just different when you don't have real live human beings in the room with you. And the thing that people say over and over is, you just don't have the same energy. So here's the thing. This is how it's going to be for a while. Hayden was right. It's not going anytime soon. And we all need to get used to it. And even when we're back in the room with actual people, the truth is, it's not their job to give us energy. When we say, oh, you don't get the energy from the audience, it's our job to provide the energy every time. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how we do that exactly. And again, it's good whether you're speaking in front of a big group or leading a team meeting on Zoom. I'm going to ask you to do this with me. And I'd really love it if you would turn on your cameras so we can all see each other doing it together. Would that be fair? Put your feet flat on the floor, if you would, both of them. And I don't know about you, I like to work barefoot. What the heck, it's virtual. Nobody can see my bad pedicure. So feet on the floor, not ankles crossed or knees crossed or sitting on a leg or any of that kind of stuff, but really get yourself grounded and feel yourself pressing down into the floor a little bit. Activate your leg muscles. You'll feel your calves and your thighs getting active. And then settle yourself in the chair so you're not sitting off on one side or the other, but you're really centered there. And your spine is straight. And I'm telling you, you people already look more alive. Nice work. So your spine is straight, your shoulders are back and down, and your head is straight up and down on top of the shoulders. We don't have any of this bird-like tilt thing going on. And now, breathe. I mean, I hope you've been breathing all along, but I mean really breathe from the lower belly. So what happens often when we get tense, as we do sometimes when the Zoom spotlight is on us, we start breathing shallowly. So it's all up in the shoulders and the neck, and there's this tension. When we breathe from the lower belly and we keep our chest expanded and our neck relaxed, we have a different kind of energy, and people can hear that. So I had, back in the days when we were speaking on real stages, I had an experience that I'm going to share with you because I want you to get in touch with the back of you. Really sense your back against the chair or maybe the back of your head. Sometimes for me, I can access the sense of my collar touching my neck. Here's why. We get intent on the people in front of us, and we want them to learn something. We want them to be inspired. And, you know, if truth be told, we want them to like us. So we start leaning in and forcing, and the energy can actually feel a little too pointed. So I am about to be looming at you through your device. That's not magnetic. So stay in touch with the back of you. What happened to me on a stage that gave me this insight was, well, a difficult audience. It was a holiday party. They had a buffet, they had cocktails, they had some speeches, they had some awards, and about the time everybody was ready to call it a night, they had me to talk about more compelling communication. I'm telling you, at that point, nobody in that room cared about more compelling communication. And I was on a stage looking at 150 or so project managers who couldn't wait to call it a night. Boy, somebody took a picture of me, and I saw myself on that stage leaning forward like this. It's a wonder I didn't fall over on my face. My center of balance was so off. I was heading into a bad night. Fortunately, somebody threw a wrench into the whole thing by asking a bizarre question that came out of left field. That shook up the energy, mine and theirs, and we went on to have a great time. I learned a big lesson about forcing. So here's how I'd like you to think about yourself in a virtual meeting. You're not a furnace. You're not pushing out the heat, forcing the energy at the audience. You're a radiator. So it's a warm glow, and you invite people to come to you. And it's the energy that helps you make that connection. So you are making the connection with a whole group of people. I'm looking at y'all right now, and I will say you look fabulous, and thank you for putting your cameras on. You're looking at me all by yourself, odds are. So when we're leading a meeting, when we're speaking on Zoom, we know there's a group. If we can't see the pictures, we see a list of names maybe. On some platforms, you'll see a number running across the screen telling you how many people are there. But we need to put ourselves into our audience's frame of mind because they're listening one at a time, sitting at a desk, in their den, at the kitchen table. So this is not the time for me to show up and give a speech. This is the time for a more conversational tone. Now, of course, there are events and there are speakers and there are audiences where a really big speech is appropriate in a virtual platform because they're trying to emulate an actual conference. More often than not, though, you do well to connect with a more intimate tone. Here's an example. You might have watched the political conventions last month, although if the ratings are any indication, chances are good you didn't watch them. You probably saw some analysis, though, and some commentary. Think about the Republican National Convention. Kimberly Guilfoyle walks out on a stage in a large but mostly empty room, walks up to the lectern, flags behind her, and gives a big speech with gigantic gestures and exaggerated facial expressions and a really loud voice. It was kind of scary. And in fact, scary is the word that came up over and over on Twitter. Now, contrast that with the Democratic convention, Michelle Obama. And this isn't about how you vote. I don't care about that. But just as an assessment of technique, there's Michelle Obama at the Democratic convention, sitting at her desk, talking to me. Oh, you thought she was talking to you, didn't you? And that's really the point. Millions of people watching, and every one of us felt that Michelle Obama is talking to me. So I'm going to suggest that when you're running a virtual session, whether it's a team meeting for the people you work with, or a big session like this, or bigger yet, you want to consider that Michelle Obama tone where people feel that you're talking to them. Remember the radiator. You want to be warm and welcoming. And one way to do that is with your pacing and the occasional pause. So there's a tendency to get kind of nervous and tense and talk really fast and try to get it over with. And you can just drown people in a torrent of information. On the other hand, it is possible, I know because I'm kind of a slow talker, to slow down so much that you kind of put people to sleep. So you're looking for a happy medium, quick enough to keep people engaged, but with pauses, because the pauses provide variety and they pull people in. And the other thing is when you pause, it demonstrates tons of confidence. You know, it takes a little bit of nerve to sit in front of a bunch of people looking at you, whether it's in a room or on a screen, and say nothing. So I'm recommending that you take that into account when you're presenting on Zoom or running a meeting, and allow yourself some moments of quiet. Now, when I paused just now, did you reach for your email? Jump on LinkedIn? I hope not. And I don't think so, because you're here with me and you know that I am absolutely with you. And that's the vibe you can create on Zoom. So it's sort of reveling in this energy and this connection. Yes, it can be a little bit of a challenge. And the way to meet it would be feet on the floor, centered in your chair, fully occupying your space, breathing from your belly, and using your energy to connect with your audience.